Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be reviewing this debate. Should pet owners eat meat? Eating fish is the same as eating cats. PeTA, Good Morning Britain. So let's go.
Are you honestly suggesting that people should eat their cats?
No, that's not what they're suggesting.
Well, there shouldn't be anything shocking about saying that all animals deserve protection from abuse. And the whole point of this advert is to get people thinking about how fish have the exact same capacity to feel pain, to suffer, as a dog or a cat.
So this is the campaign. See things, very clever, in a different light. Respectable life, go being vegan. Okay, so they've got a dead cat there being handed over by a fishmonger, whatever they're called, with a bunch of fish corpses there, just saying there's no morally significant difference between these animals, basically. Good little sign.
Most people wouldn't dream of going home and having a cat supper for their dinner.
True.
But yet we know that fish are hauled out of their ocean homes, they're suffocated, gutted while they're still conscious, all for a fleeting moment of taste. So, of course, if you're repulsed by the idea of eating cat flesh, then extend that empathy and that compassion to all animals by going vegan.
Very well said.
I had fish restaurants. I grew up in a farm. I had animals in a farm. I had sheepdogs that we didn't eat. We had animals that we still had as pets, and not just dogs and cats. But I grew up eating meat and fish, and I had fish restaurants, and I have restaurants.
So far, just compelling arguments here. So basically, you grew up on a farm, you had sheep, you had sheepdogs, you also had pets, you didn't eat the dogs. That's kind of their point.
And there's farmers involved. There's loads of people that make a living out of animals that we rear to eat eventually.
There's farmers involved. You know, we make a living out of this. We're making a financial gain out of the wholesale slaughter of sentient beings. We do have a dog at home, but we don't mass slaughter them.
This campaign is not madness, but it's a little bit out of place, I think, because it's too much to tell us now that a fish can turn into a cat. I'm sorry.
Absolutely compelling argument there. You can't just come tell us now, after thousands of years of torturing and murdering animals, that we can't.
The argument might be fish are intelligent animals. They might not look like
Do we
us.
know that?
We don't stroke that. Well, do we know that as a fact?
What? Do we know that for a fact? Well, maybe you should check that out before you start selling their tortured bodies. But obviously intelligence isn't the metric for morality, sentience is, and yes, fish are very intelligent. There was a study. If they ate off of the blue plate, both plates would stay. If they ate off of the red plate, one plate would go. And the fish actually performed better than the primates in that study, and they also performed better than the scientist's 4-year-old daughter. They are intelligent, but the main thing is that they are sentient. So they can have subjective experiences and pain and suffering and well-being and things like this.
When I had my fish restaurant, I had a letter from a customer that, because we had octopus on the menu, and the customer said, could you please reconsider, because octopus have a lot of feelings. I did take it off the menu. The week after, I went to Sicily, and they have an octopus festival. So I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing?
So what we were doing is we were boiling dogs alive in the back of the restaurant, skinning them, bashing them in the head with a hammer, you know, things like this. We were creating some dog shish kebabs, and a customer wrote in and said, hey, you know, just can you reconsider taking those dogs off the menu? They've got a lot of feelings, you know. So we did that, you know, we did do that because they made a good point. But then I went to Yulin, and now we're having a dog meat festival, and I was like, well, what am I doing? They're doing it, so it's obviously okay. So we began boiling dogs alive and bashing their heads in with hammers and skinning them and putting them on the menu for our dog's shish kebab.
Hundreds of studies show how intelligent fish are, including from Oxford University. They found out that fish have complex cognitive abilities. They use their memories, they're capable of learning. Some fish use tools to find their food. These are incredible animals, and they're individuals, and they have a desire to live. And no animal wants to be killed to be served up on the dinner table.
Yes, that's a very compelling point, Jennifer, but do you know there's a fish festival around the corner from me? So that actually debunks your argument. If a bunch of people are having a festival chopping up fish, then it doesn't matter if they're super intelligent, if they're having their own subjective experience, if they don't want to die. What matters is festivals, though.
What should we do? Should we just go vegan and vegetarian, all of us?
What are you trying to say? Like, you think we should just all not eat animals. I mean, what would happen to is that even possible? Like, what is this? What is this sorcery?
Well, look, you're a very
And should we-
talented chef. Your
Well, yeah.
restaurant has amazing vegan options on the menu. So why stop there? Why not throw in a vegan prawn linguine or, a vegan
do.
tuna steak?
I remember saying almost that exact thing to Anthony Worrell Thompson.
You're a chef. You know how to make things out of
course I
plants.
do.
Are slaughterhouses necessary?
All right. Like, you're the last person who should think that creating vegan recipes is hard.
I have vegan, vegetarian food all over the menu.
I have vegetarian food because he's just thinking it's all covered in cheese and cream.
Yeah, and we're in a vegan
But people
revolution
don't go
with
for it,
more and more
darling.
people
But people don't go for it. Big problem.
choosing
It's
vegan
not me,
options.
it's the customers. It's you guys.
I
people
mean,
want
we're
meat,
in the
people
middle.
want fish.
He's actually raising a really good point here, so I'm going to give him that. It doesn't debunk the point Jennifer's making here, but what he's saying is I'm just a salesperson, supply and demand. If people don't want the vegan thing, then he's going to sell the meat, isn't he? There is a good study on when people are presented with more vegan options, they're more likely to choose them. The supplier does influence the demand. If all you're surrounded with is meat, all you're surrounded with is non-vegan burgers, and there's one vegan burger, crummy little cardboard vegan burger off the side and not advertised, then they just don't have the selection. But if you give them enough choice, they're more likely to make that vegan choice. So he's kind of right, but also she's also right. I think you should do something like what Wagamamas have done and make 50% of your menu. Actually, no, screw that. Apologism. Make your whole menu 100% vegan. Make it so amazing that they can't tell the difference, and stop exploiting and murdering animals.
Every chef worth their salt at the moment has vegan options on their menu, or they're making their restaurants fully vegan, like Alexis Gauthier, who
I
has
did.
got one
I
of
opened
the
the
most...
first vegetarian restaurant in London 25 years ago, and it didn't go very well. If it was now, probably it would.
Well, 25 years ago versus now. I mean, putting this all on him, like this argument, their campaign is for the general public, right? The general public are the consumer. The public, we want them to stop consuming the animal products. I would be probably pressuring him a little too here, but it's for the audience and more about his own consumer choices. Because if he's saying, I only supply it because I demand it, but why do you eat all animal products? I mean, he goes on here shortly to say that he eats fish, but hey, I thought it was the customer's fault, not yours. So he has personal responsibility for the animals in his life that are getting executed for his fish steak or whatever. He can't put it all on his customers. Obviously, that's just kind of like a cop-out.
More people are understanding that animals are individuals. And the reason that you have this idea that the animals belong in these boxes of pets and food is because of speciesism, which is how humans justify mistreating animals. And it's this misguided belief that some species are more
But
important
not
than
animals,
others.
not all animals.
Stop cutting her off. She was making a good speech about speciesism. I think she's doing really well here.
But not all animals are mistreated.
No, not all animals are mistreated. Do you mean not all animals in the meat industry are mistreated? Because that's just completely wrong. Depends what you mean by mistreatment. You don't think it's mistreatment to breed someone into existence for the sole purpose of shooting them in the head, decapitating them, chopping their body parts up and selling them to customers? I think that's the epitome of mistreatment.
Animals are reared, turkeys at Christmas, they're reared properly, then it comes to Christmas.
Oh my God, dude. He just used turkeys, one of the worst examples of animal abuse in the country and the world. Most turkeys are factory farmed, and even the free-range turkeys are killed in a killing cone or a gas chamber. Using birds as an example in England as like high welfare is a very, very bad example. Obviously, I'm an animal rights activist. I'm concerned with their rights being violated, which can happen if they are not being quote unquote mistreated on the farm, even though mistreatment, does include cutting their head off.
I mean, I think
we
I
put it
would
on
love
the
to
table.
show you some investigation footage that would change your mind of how...
I said not all, obviously, there are.
There are some. I mean, the majority are factory farmed here in the UK.
But no animal wants to
horrifying
die, and
stories.
this is the point of this advert. It's if you hate the idea of a cat dying for a meal, then you should also hate the idea of a fish dying for a meal, because they are individuals with personalities and they want to live free from
I'm
harm.
not sure
And
whether you can compare.
Even if there are some where you would consider the welfare higher, it's still wrong to take their life from them. So she's basically making an animal rights argument here, just in her own way, which is good.
Vegan fish. You can get so many vegan fish options now.
Okay.
Captain Birdseye has vegan fish fingers.
Okay.
She's like, please stop murdering all the fish. You can get vegan fish fingers. And she's like, Vegan fish fingers? What? I didn't know fish had fingers that are vegan.
You want people to be vegan. We get that. And it's a powerful advert to make people think about their approach to what they do and don't eat.
This host is great. Whatever happened to Piers Morgan? What about the billions and billions and trillions and gazillions of insects that died for that one slice of bread?
Do you have pets yourself?
I don't at the moment, unfortunately. London's not very...
Have you ever had pets?
They're going down the pet road with her. They always love to do this. They've done it to me before. Do you have a dog?
Do you have a dog?
No, I don't.
I just wondered if you had a dog, and if you
you
had
have
a
a
dog,
dog?
what you fed it. Yeah, I have 3.
So why do you shoot other animals and not your dog?
Remember the hunter on this morning?
Animals like cats, they can't be vegan. Their stomachs are not designed for it.
Actually, that is not true. So if you look at this study here, the impact of vegan diets and indicators on health in dogs and cats, a systematic review. This review has found that there's no convincing evidence of major impacts of vegan diets on dog or cat health. There was evidence of benefits for animals arising as a result of feeding them vegan diets. These beneficial findings were relatively consistent across several studies and should therefore not be disregarded. These studies need a particular focus on assessing the dietary aspects cited to be one of particular concern, which is taurine and folate. You can supplement taurine. If you can supplement, your cat can supplement. For guardians wishing to feed their pets vegan diets at the current time, based on the available evidence, it is recommended that commercially produced vegan diets are used. These are less likely to lead to nutrient imbalances. So what they're basically saying is make sure you use commercially produced, specially formulated, correctly supplemented vegan cat food. I don't know why people get all freaked out over this. They believe that their cat should make the moral decisions in their house and automatically should decide who lives and who dies. They're your domesticated animal. They're not a wild animal. They don't have a natural, quote unquote, natural diet. They're not a natural occurring animal. They're a house cat. They're in your ethical control. So if there's no problem feeding them commercially produced, well-formulated vegan cat food, I don't see the issue with it.
How do you relate to that quandary? Because you're a vegan, but you're feeding your cat meat products.
This is where that campaign is open to a couple criticisms, because the campaign is about see things differently. There's a dead cat there over the bodies of dead fish, but obviously many people feed their cats fish, which is kind of weird, isn't it? When you don't really see cats catching salmon out of it or tuna. Imagine a cat trying to catch a tuna. It's not even like possible. My argument would just be that it's not right to kill cats and feed them to your cat. That would be morally repugnant in most people's eyes. That would just be something cause outrage. Then it's not okay to kill fish and feed them to your cat for the same reason. I mean, imagine if I said the cats are obligate carnivores. I'm going to breed a bunch of cats and feed them to my cat and say that all 10, 20 cats a year have to die for my cat because my cat is the most special cat. You would just think that was insane. Let's just say you had these two options: kill a bunch of cats to feed to your cat or give them vegan pet food. You would choose the vegan pet food, I'm pretty sure, almost always. So why is that different for fish?
Well, the issue here is what humans can do to improve things for animals who are currently being exploited for their flesh.
So she's changed the subject here. This campaign is about what humans can do. That's pretty smart. Like to say, like, I think we should focus on what humans are doing first, and then we can worry about the domesticated animals later. I think it's a good strategy. She's going to lose everyone if she doesn't produce some data immediately on vegan cats. But this is a very divisive topic even amongst the vegan community. Oh my God, my cat is can't have a supplement, even though supplements work on literally humans like we supplement. Like the same arguments people use to justify their cats eating meat, you could use to justify humans eating meat. You could say, well, humans are obligate omnivores and we've always eaten meat, and there's certain nutrients that we need from meat like B12, but we can supplement, and also can a cat. A cat can take taurine supplements. In fact, taurine, I believe, is destroyed by heat. All the carnist cat food is heat treated, so the taurine is destroyed, so they have to add it back as a supplement. I'm fairly sure that's true. This isn't a hard ethical issue, but it is very divisive, and I can see that it can turn a lot of people off. Oh my God, you can't feed cats vegan. You want to give them a lettuce sandwich? Oh my God, this is wrong.
Commercial fishing industry is the biggest killer of fish and marine animals on the planet, with 2.8 trillion killed every single year for their flesh. And the best thing that we can do to protect the world's oceans is by stopping eating fish, and that's something that we can do. Of course, we don't need to push this on animal companions.
I think you're not pushing it on them. They're in your moral control. But I think she did a good job there of saying, like, let's deal with the biggest issue here, which is us. I would go a step further and say that it wouldn't be right to kill cats to feed to your cat. Imagine if I was going out killing a bunch of stray cats, murdering their kittens, bringing them home for my cat, putting them in the freezer. You just think, what the hell are you doing, dude? And I say, my cat's an obligate carnivore, dude. You know what I'm saying? You just think it's crazy. So I don't think we should be speciesist in this situation either, because otherwise they just accuse you of speciesism. Why should a fish die for your cat or be murdered for your cat? Well, I don't think they should. And we've got vegan cat food, specially formulated, which has supplements in it, and that should be the go-to.
What about the farm fish?
Why would he bring up factory farmed fish like it's a good argument?
There's a lot of farming now.
Well, farming fish is terrible for the environment.
It's also terrible for the fish.
You know, if you look at salmon farms, for example, they are crammed into these small pools where they're infested with
There's
lice.
hundreds
There's
of
bacteria.
farms.
The lice like eat them alive, and they're filled with feces. They do it in the ocean with these big net cages. They just get filled with excrement. I think Scotland produces as much. I think the Scottish fish farms. Let me just grab this up. What? One fish farm produces the same amount of waste as all of Scotland's west coast towns put together. Wow, that's crazy.
There's so much footage from these farms.
And we all in this country eating it. We're eating farmed sea bass, farmed salmon, lobster.
Yeah, and it's,
you
know,
name it, it's all farm.
So, what is he trying to make it? Is he trying to justify it? He's just making a statement. Like, does he know he's kind of having a debate with her right now? Yeah, and that's a problem. People are eating farmed animals. It's a problem. It's a problem to go out and murder wild animals. It's a problem to murder farmed animals.
And it's incredibly
Wild
cruel
fish is really expensive, and it's very short.
But there's so much
what do we do?
What do we do? Like, what are we gonna do? Oh, we don't eat them. That's pretty. That's crazy. This is madness. How can you say such mad, crazy, controversial statements like all I have to do is not eat them?
We leave fish in peace. We simply don't need to be taking part in any of it. And it's not going to happen overnight. And you're right, industries will need to change and adapt over time. But even as you were saying, if you go back 25 years...
Do you think in
perhaps the
20 years'
demand
time
wasn't
then
there?
we'll all be vegan? Is that what you think?
Absolutely. I'm sure your restaurant will be fully vegan by then.
Well, maybe not completely vegan, but you know what I think is that we make enough vegans, we get enough social disgust at the state of animal agriculture, and we get animal rights. And then legally, you won't be able to sell your chopped up, murdered animal bodies, will you?
And we can,
To be
look back on
to
this.
be fair to you, I personally am a pescatarian.
Wow, you're basically a vegan then, bro, eh? Like, this whole debate has been about how fish are sentient, they are intelligent beings, they feel pain and suffer. There's no morally significant difference between eating a cat and eating a fish. This whole debate just went right over your head to the point where you're like, to be fair to vegans, I am a pescatarian, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm essentially the same as you. Like, fish are just like carrots, aren't they? They're just like a bag of tomatoes. They're swimming vegetables. They're like seaweed. Look at it. This seaweed has eyes. Look, oh my God, I'm going to prod them with a knife. Oh, look, it's just non-sentient vegetables swimming through the ocean.
And I eat less red meat now.
Oh, mate. I just don't believe him. Less, what, you're eating 12 steaks and not a day. Now you're eating 11 3/4. What actually tends to happen is when you make good arguments to someone, they tend to go, well, I don't eat much meat. I eat a little less on a Tuesday, you know. And to be fair to you, I am basically the same as you. I'm a pescatarian who just murders cows on a Wednesday or something. It's not honest. Just be honest. You don't have any plans on stopping meat consumption. You sell meat, you eat meat. Just, if you think it's wrong, just be honest with yourself and change, you know. Won't be the end of your life.
Because of my age and because of health, I should think.
Oh, so that's not being fair to her position anyway. You're doing it for self-serving reasons if you are doing it, so that you don't die early or die in suffering like the animals that suffer to death that you sell in your restaurant.
But my dog, he can't survive on a vegan diet.
He literally can, and there's no health differences between vegan dogs and non-vegan dogs. In fact, there's probably some benefits to vegan pet food for dogs. You're not getting the dead, dying, diseased animals that they go to the rendering plant and all that crap. But listen, my dog can't survive on a vegan diet. I'm going to kill your dog to feed to my dog, or I'm going to go to Yulin to pick up some dog meat for my dog because my dog just can't survive on a vegan diet. So I'm going to kill about 37 chihuahuas a month to feed to my Rottweiler. My Rottweiler has much more moral value than those 37 chihuahuas put together. Come on.
He loves his chicken, he loves his turkey, he loves his lamb.
Can.
So he eats chickens, he eats lambs. A lamb's probably almost exactly on par in terms of sentience and moral value as your dog. And you will sooner shoot a lamb in the skull, cut their head off to feed to your dog, than you would feed your dog a plant-based, nutritionally formulated, okay, don't get it twisted, we're not giving them just carrots and cucumbers, nutritionally formulated plant-based diet to your dog. You'd sooner cut a lamb's head off than feed your dog a vegan diet. This proves the point of speciesism here. This whole discussion here is all based on speciesism.
It's not about being perfect. And of course, if you have animal companions at home, don't worry about changing their diet, change your diet. You know, if all humans took responsibility, personal responsibility, then, you know, we don't need to focus on the companion animal side of things.
I would just go a little further. I'd say first focus on changing yourself and and then you can worry about the domesticated animals following that. I wouldn't exclude it from the conversation completely. I would have just mentioned vegan pet food, and it also had a little bit of data about like there's no difference between vegan pet food and non-vegan pet food in terms of health. And even if there was, right? So let's just say your cat was 10% less healthy on a vegan diet. Does that 10% of health justify murdering a lamb to feed to them, or suffocating a fish to death with a hook in their face? It's just people think that they need their cat, especially cat, to be in optimal like health, and we need to go out in nature and get them, hunt an elk down and give them this like. I don't get it. I just don't get it. How's the health of the animal, the lamb that you cut their head off to feed to your dog? How's their health? Their health is gone. They're dead. They're murdered. See, this is the thing about speciesism. Like, people think that their dog and cat's preferences to eat meat are stronger than the life of other animals like lambs and pigs and fish, because it can't be about their health, because obviously there's no real difference. But the debate here is, should pet owners eat meat? The debate isn't about should pets eat meat. Otherwise you could have got someone who does the research.
You need your
Okay.
protein.
So if that wasn't enough, he had to finish it off with one last like rip snorter of a justification there. You need protein. Well, mate, this isn't the 1950s. We've actually worked out that you can get sufficient amount of protein from plants, and probably the majority of the protein he gets in his diet is actually from plants, because most people eat most of their plate from plants. But all amino acids are found in plant foods. There's 20, I think 9 are essential, 11 are non-essential. By now, you can get protein from plants.
And you can get all the protein you need from a vegan
Okay.
diet. And
Well,
Yeah, of course.
I know that you make a good vegan meal as well as the fish and the other products that you cook in your restaurants. Good to speak to both of you.
She did a very good job. I think it's difficult to get up there and keep your composure, and she did a really good job there. So that's great. It's probably a good strategy to steer away from the pets in a live discussion in front of a bunch of people who you're just trying to get your foot in the door with themselves. Probably would have made Daily Mail news. Oh my God, PETA said that we should force our cats to eat lettuce. So yeah, that's my reaction to that debate discussion. Do you think we should react to anything else? Send it in. Send us an email. If you got any videos, discussions, debates you want me to react to. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.